Scott Bradley here for Rick Zamperin this morning. One of the sad realities of society in general these days is some people take advantage of other people. That is just, and maybe that's just not these days, that's been going on forever. But we seem to be hearing more and more about scams, senior scams in particular, seniors who are taken advantage of and who are tricked. And, and this is not, some of these are elaborate. Some of them are very clever, and I don't say that complimentary. They're cruel, but they are clever. And some of them just prey on people's fears. And lately we've been hearing about this new one. You've heard about lots of them, I'm sure. But we've been hearing about this new one where people go around and they offer to do a simple bit of home repair. And then when they start doing that very simple, inexpensive home repair, they point out to the homeowners that, we found this as well. And then that leads to this. And then, there's wood rot and there's this and there's that. And there are now examples of primarily seniors being tricked. I don't think there's a different word. Tricked out of tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. They just keep adding to what the cost is of homes repairs that need to be done to keep the home from falling apart, that turns out, apparently, none of it probably really needs to be done. Bob Asadourian is the owner of Triple R Incorporated, and he is the host of Just Ask Bob on Cable 14. Joins us now. Bob, how are you this morning?
Excellent. Good morning to you, Scott, and to all your listeners.
Appreciate you coming on to talk about this, because I am not a senior at this point, but I could absolutely, because I don't know what I'm doing, I could absolutely see myself being caught up in something like this, where someone who looks trustworthy, sounds like they know what they're doing, seems like they're on top of things, comes to my house and says, you know what, we just discovered X that is wrong with your house. I could absolutely see being caught in something like this.
Well, Scott, don't be trusting. That's the first warning. We have to heed my father's advice. He always taught me as a young child, trust must be earned. Trust must never just be, provided or given. If we talk about seniors for a moment, we have to think to ourselves, why? The big question, why? I've been covering this for almost 20 years, and the number one demographic is seniors that are scammed or otherwise taken advantage, retirees. We have to look at this as to why. My belief system is, number one, it's accessibility. Seniors are easily targeted because they're available. Obviously, they're retired. They're home. As in the case with Toronto, with the recent media coverage, these seniors were home. They were doing some work in the garden or work outside. And also now, besides accessibility, because they're obviously, they're home, they're accessible, they're available, it's a situation, again, back to trust. They came from a different day and age. Definitely not, not 2023 today. They came up in an era where you didn't have to have, double deadbolts on the doors. You could trust people. The trust was much, much easier in that day and age. So that's why they fall prey to this much easier. And, we have to learn about that word trust, especially people coming to the homes. I believe that this is the number one violation. I'm a contractor myself. I would have to be pretty desperate to go door knocking, which I wouldn't. I don't advise any contractor, any business to go door to door. That's your sanctuary. That's where you have to be protected. Legitimate contractors, legitimate business people, leave a card, leave a flyer. Do not solicit, do not bother people at their doors.
But Bob, let me jump in for 1 second, because again, most of us are not like you. Most of us are not, I'm in that category. I don't know everything about my house. I wish I did. I'm not a handy person. So if I have someone, even if I hire them, how do I know whether I trust them? It's like going to get your car fixed. You don't know sometimes if they're saying you need to have this repaired. You don't know your way around your car. How do you know? How do you trust or not trust? How do you know who to trust or not trust when they tell you something's wrong with your house?
Excellent. Educate yourself. Obtain comparables. It's free. Ideally, this is free education. So contractors, generally speaking, it's all free estimates, unless you're bringing in an architect, an engineer, a designer. But pretty well for these types of scams, all estimates are free. Collect 3, 4, maybe 5. Get the estimates in, chat them up, discuss what's going on, why is the work needed, what materials are you using, gather all the company information. Now, obviously, to save your time, first call the municipality. 905-546-2424. For example, call the city of Hamilton, ask for building department. In the case of these seniors that were scammed, mention to the building department, I'm looking at having a roof done or looking at having a chimney done. Is the permit required? Is the license required? Number one, the city will tell you as a resident of Hamilton, the contractor you hire to do your roof needs to have a City of Hamilton Master Building Repair license. Now you're empowered. So now when you call these tradespeople or contractors, say, by the way, do you have the license? City of Hamilton Master Building Repair. I would like to see it when you come to my home. Now you're going to eliminate the riffraff. You're going to eliminate the crooks and the criminals and the underground economy. So you're going to have 3 or 4 roofers come by, maybe 5, only the licensed ones. Have them give you a written estimate. Now you have a resource to educate yourself, compare apples to apples, then hit the internet. You know, something that wasn't available back in the day. Education, research, and take your time. No one will be taken like these folks were in Toronto.
Yeah, it's such a tricky one because again, even if you do what you're saying, and I think it's very good advice, you might have a couple people, different people are going to see different things. And, that's just human nature that everyone's going to have a slightly different opinion. And there are some things that are going to be very cut and dried. There are others that may be a little more muddy, and it's such a difficult question. If you're not in this industry, how do you know? And you've just given some good advice on who to trust. Is there a builder's code? Is there a builder's organization where everybody who is anybody of any value belongs, that you can do a check?
Well, the number one I would say is, again, the City of Hamilton licensing. The city does a phenomenal job, and not every city, not every municipality in Ontario has this. So in Hamilton, for a contractor to become legitimate, number one, they have to possess the police clearance. So this clears a lot of hurdles right there. They show that to the city. They sit down for a 2-hour open book examination on the Ontario Building Code. Then they must sign an attestation form annually to the city upon renewal, attesting that they carry minimum $2 million liability coverage. Now, I'm a real advocate for the licensing in Hamilton because, again, it does a lot of justice to the homeowners. I can tell you the license is not a guarantee that you're going to have perfectly painted straight lines on the wall or perfectly caulked joints on your countertops. But generally speaking, a licensed contractor is not going to take you for a ride, is not going to scam you. Will there be gray areas? 100%. In home renovations, nothing's black and white. There'll be gray areas, but that's where the comparables come back into it. So for shingles, you'll have a variety of estimates, different warranties, different types of shingles. Ask for references. That's so valuable for homeowners, not only to speak to them on the phone, but to go down and visit the job sites, have a look at the roof, have a look at the kitchen or bathroom or basements. A lot of research must go into it.
That's
this
right.
is quite the opposite from just finding in your driveway or having somebody knock at your door and saying you're hired.
Yeah, Bob,
that's instantaneous.
We got to run, but it's great advice because if you're going to be spending, if you go to the store and you buy a hot dog for $2, who cares? But if you're spending 75 or 100 grand, you should do some research and should get some. Yeah, Bob Asadorian, you can see him on Cable 14 all the time. He's also owner of Triple R Incorporated. Thanks for doing this, Bob.
Thank you very much.